So I am Justin Burr. I'm an interdisciplinary studies major with elementary license, and I kind of want to talk to you guys today about mindset and how this idea of mindset is going to help the next generation of people we have coming up in the world reach their maximum potential in life. I kind of want to start out by telling you guys a story about a kindergartner. He can't read at all, and he gets in first grade and the same thing happens. His teachers are telling him he's doing very good, and he's a good reader, but he can't read. He gets into second grade and the same thing is happening. When he gets into third grade, his teacher is telling him that he is a good reader and that he's doing just fine, and he takes this CSAP test at the end of the year and gets the worst score of any third grader on the reading CSAP in his school. His parents were talked to about being put on a literacy plan, and all of these acronyms that education has were thrown out at his parents, and his parents didn't let him do that. And then he gets to fourth grade, and his fourth grade teacher sees his CSAP scores from the previous year, and the fourth grade teacher starts talking about how bad of a reader he is. And again, he takes the fourth grade CSAP at the end of the year, and he gets the worst score again in his school on the fourth grade CSAP. Then he gets into fifth grade, and he has a teacher that starts talking about how hard work and effort is what makes a successful person and what can make you improve. And he starts reading more, practicing, and he is on grade level by the end of his fifth grade year. So that's a huge jump. So the book Mindset by Carol Dweck talks about two mindsets. There's a fixed mindset and there's a growth mindset. Okay? The fixed mindset, people have to succeed and they cannot be seen failing. And these are the people, I like to call those kind of like Ronda Rousey. If you remember, Ronda Rousey went into the fight talking about how she's the best fighter in the world against Holly Holm. And then she got hit a couple times in the first round, and you could kind of see that she was stumbling around a little bit. And in the second round, she got knocked out. After the fight, she talked about how she wanted to commit suicide because she lost. Okay? She had to succeed to such a point that when she was seen failing, she felt like she needed to end her life. And then we have Michael Jordan, who has more of the growth mindset. These people see failure as a learning opportunity. In this quote, he talks about how he's missed 9,000 shots in his career, lost 300 games, 26 times he was trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. And all of those failures are what led to his success and what helped him succeed. He saw those failures as a learning opportunity. So in education, praise is a big deal. And how do we praise students? I know that personally I want to praise students all the time. I'm student teaching right now in a third grade classroom, and my third graders are awesome, and when they get something done, I want to tell them, oh, you did such a good job. Mindset says that we should only be praising students based solely on effort alone. And I've learned throughout this semester that even saying thank you for working so hard, which is kind of what mindset teaches us to do, that even kind of creates a fixed mindset. They are working for your praise at that point. They're not working because they want to work hard. Okay? So other things that teachers will sometimes say is, you learned so quickly, you are so smart. A student could look at that and say, man, I didn't learn quickly, I must not be smart. Creating that fixed mindset, and that's, again, what we're trying to avoid as teachers. Another huge thing in schools right now, all over the country, is PBIS. It's Positive Behavior Intervention Support. It's the system of rewards that teachers, principals, whatever, specials teachers, they give. At my school, it's a moose buck. They'll give a moose buck to a kid. They save up their moose bucks, and they can get stuff such as an iPad, a bike, a Rubik's Cube. My kids bought like 10 wall balls today from the moose market, is what they call it. They spent their moose bucks on this. Rafe Esquith, in his book, Teach Like Your Hair is on Fire, kind of talks about this idea. If we look at level two is students behave because they want a reward. Okay? It's an extrinsic, fixed mindset thing. Okay? And then if we look down at level 6, it says, I have a personal code of behavior and I follow it. This is what he calls the Atticus Finch level. Okay? It's because it's inside of you. It is not an external factor. Growth mindset. Okay? So it even relates to behavior. So these are some of the common things teachers, professors, parents can say that can create this fixed mindset. Make sure you're paying attention to this. We have a test on Friday. Or make sure you're paying attention to this. The PARCC test, the standardized test for this state, is in April. You need to make sure you're paying attention. Okay? Parents, we just aren't a math family. If I'm not good at math, why does my kid need to be good at math? Okay? You're doing so well. If a student is not doing well, if they're struggling with reading, you can't lie to your student and say, you're doing well. That's not helping them, that's creating that fixed mindset. Okay? And I have a story about that here on the next slide. So some of my classroom stories, again, I'm observing in a 3rd grade classroom here at Alamos Elementary. And a couple weeks ago I gave an area and perimeter pretest. And our GT, gifted and talented student, she's reading in the 98th percentile, is taking this area and perimeter test. Now I should say that these 3rd graders have no prior experience with area and perimeter. She was taking her test, she gets to a problem she doesn't know. And I hear her start grunting at her test. Ugh, ugh. And she takes her pencil and she throws it down on her desk. And I look at her test afterwards, and she just put random numbers down on her page. She didn't even try the problem. And then I have another student, they say he is yellow in math. He is struggling. He's right almost where you need to be on target. Okay? And he gets to the same problem. And I'm walking by his desk, and he has this chart that goes over every other problem on the page that makes no sense to what the problem has to do with. But he is doing everything in his power to figure out what the answer to that problem is. So much so that he's drawing over the problems below it and writing numbers down that again make no sense, but he is trying as hard as he can to figure that problem out. Now that same student who's in the 98th percentile, I had her in a small group math session working on area and perimeter. And she fills out the worksheet I asked her to do, and she hands it to me and says, Mr. Justin, I'm done. And I'm looking at it. She had 2 wrong answers. I handed it back to her and said, you have 2 wrong answers. Look through it, check your work, and see if you can tell me which wrongs you got wrong and fix them. She was done 15 minutes before everybody else. Another girl in that group, she is one of our lower math students. I put her in the high math group because she worked so hard. And I wanted to show the high kids what hard work really looks like. She takes the extra 15 minutes, gets every problem correct, hands her paper to me, says, Mr. Justin, I'm done. I look at her problem and say, oh, thank you so much, you can go back to your seat. She's sitting next to the girl, the gifted and talented girl. She looks down at her paper and says, oh, I see where you went wrong, and walks back to her seat. I thought that was really funny. Parent-teacher conferences. Sitting down with the parent at parent-teacher conferences, and this parent, we're talking about how her child is struggling with reading. She's reading 70 words per minute. She's supposed to be reading closer to 80, 85 words per minute. And we're talking to her mom about this, and this whole time her mom is complimenting her. Oh, you're doing so well, you're doing so well. Just like I talked about on the last slide, if we're lying to our students, if we're telling them they're doing well, that's creating a fixed mindset. We have to be honest with our students and tell them that they're not doing well. Okay? And that can be hard to do as a teacher. I know I struggle with it. I have another student in my class. He is capable of doing what every other 3rd grader in the class does. But often when you give him something to do, he will sit there and cry because he doesn't want to do it. And give him the work, he's crying. I go over to him and I say, oh, what can I help you? And he doesn't want help really, he doesn't want to do it. As soon as I walk away and he starts working on it, he's able to do it in 10 minutes. But he wants to sit there and he wants to put it on a show and cry for 5 or 10 minutes before actually getting any work done. Again, that fixed mindset, he doesn't think that he can do it, but really he can. And then this is one of my favorite students in the class. And we're not supposed to have favorites, but she's one of my favorite students in the class. She is a 3rd grader, like I said, reading at a 1st grade reading level. Okay? That's obviously very low. And honestly, I don't know if she's even reading at a 1st grade reading level. She works so hard every single day. And I had a meeting with her about her test scores last week. And I said, listen, you're struggling. I want you to know that. That's okay. We're going to get better. We're going to work every day. We're going to get better. And now she's sitting there crying because I'm telling her she's such a hard worker. And I'm getting ready to cry because I'm sympathy crier, I guess. And I look at her and say, stop crying. I don't want to cry right now. I still got half an hour left in the day. Okay? Amazing student. She works hard, and honestly, she's going to be able to do anything she wants to do with her life if she keeps working hard. She's going to get reading. It's going to happen. Okay? I'm going to relate this back to sports a little bit here. UCLA men's basketball coach John Wooden coached a team that won 11 championships between 1964 and 1975. He had an 88-game win streak between 1971 and 1974. And they never once talked about winning in all of those years. Never talked about winning a championship at all. It was all about what can we do right now at practice to make ourselves better. Never talked about winning a championship, and there's a lot of championships up there. To relate that to this really big thing that's going on in Colorado right now, the PARCC test. My third graders are taking this next week on Monday, and they are all very stressed about it. The whole year, from day one, their teachers, their principals, everybody around them has been teaching to this test. Everything we do in the class has to be somewhat related to something that is on this test. And they are told that this test is going to get them into a good college, is going to get them a good job when they grow up. Today I had a conversation with them and I said, I just want to let you guys know that I've never had to put my third grade PARCC test score or my third grade on a job application or a college application. I said if I probably wouldn't be in college or have a job because it was that low. Okay? So we teach to the test, and this high stakes testing creates this stress. And when they're stressed, they have a fixed mindset. And they go into it thinking that it's going to be hard and they're not going to be able to do it. And they're not going to succeed as much as they can. And then we have this idea of incentives for students. Now, Curtis talked to me about this, and I didn't know this was even a thing, that students actually get paid for how well they pass the test, this PARCC test. And I thought that's not real. No, kids don't get paid $100 for passing the PARCC test. And then I was at an assembly last week where my principal gave each student $20 or $40 depending on what grade they were in, and they had to score advanced on the test to get their money. Now, I immediately texted my parents and Curtis, and my dad talked to me about it later, and he said some schools actually give bikes and iPads to their students who pass the test. Okay, so that's how much stress and importance is being put on this test, when really, in all honesty, it's really not all that important. This test should just be showing us what they know and what they don't know so we can help them improve in the future. Okay? So in conclusion, if you didn't already figure it out, the story that I told you at the beginning is about me. I was the lowest third grader, fourth grader in the school in reading. I could not read. My mom said she would be reading with me, and it would be a word, and I would just say random words instead of the word that was on the page. And she said it was really frustrating for her because she didn't know what was wrong. I could not read, and I got to fifth grade and I just started practicing all of the time, every day. By the end of the year, I was reading Series of Unfortunate Events books, which are at sixth grade reading level, easily, which is pretty amazing. And I want to talk about Rafe one more time. If you don't know Rafe, he's won he's knighted by the Queen of England. He's been, a president has given him awards. President of the United States has given him awards. He's a pretty amazing guy. He teaches in inner city, he used to teach in inner city LA. This quote hangs above his classroom whiteboard: "There are no shortcuts." I was watching a documentary from Rafe, and two students had cheated on a test that were in his class. And they walk up to him, he calls them over, he takes their test from him and says, "Guys, there are no shortcuts in life. You have to work hard to get where you want to be." hands them new tests back and has them go retake them. He made it about learning, not about the cheating. It's about working hard to get where you're at. He explained that to them. I know a lot of teachers would not even do that. That's it. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions?